What is up, my beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Between Two Sheets, where we interview interesting people from around the world. Today, we have Brian Casserly. He is a skydiver, he is an entrepreneur, and he has a swell beard. If you're listening to the podcast, you can watch it over on my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/svzingaro, or just Google Sailing Zingaro. And if you're watching the podcast and don't have time to watch us talk, head over to Between the Sheets podcast and download the MP3. Without further ado, here's Brian.
What up? What's going on, man?
Thanks for joining me today, brother.
Thanks for having me. Kind of funny to run into you in Aruba.
Yeah.
Of all places.
Right?
Yeah, why not?
Very cool, man.
Absolutely.
So you run a blog called Pussfoot, and in that blog you told me that you started as a skydiver and now you're moving on to water, and you want to get like kind of all the elements and...
Exactly. So like again, skydiving was its birthplace, and from there we added some e-bike stuff, and then when COVID hit it was all about food, and now it's still skydiving, it's definitely still food, and now we're adding water in. And what I'm doing with the water aspect of it is not just, well, similar to what you're doing. Doing photo interviews with just super rad people all around the world. So kind of cool. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. That sounds crazy cool.
It's a second full-time job though, dude. You know,
oh
so
yeah,
it's
I
tough.
know that. Yeah.
You know.
So how did you get into it? What decisions in your life led you to having a blog? And what the hell does Pussfoot mean?
All right. We got the camera. So we got the octopus on the foot. And you know, Pussfoot. I guess the true meaning behind Pussfoot is if you've ever done something truly outside the box, like whether it be rock climbing, or maybe you're out sailing in just something you shouldn't be sailing in, or you're jumping out of an airplane. When you're standing there and you got that weird jelly feeling in your leg, like your legs have just become octopus tentacles and you just have no will to do anything, Pussfoot to a group, or to anybody really, is that ability to overcome that fear and strengthen those octopus tentacles back into like sturdy legs and complete the task at hand. Yeah.
Wow, what a cool explanation, really.
It's just what it is, man.
No shit.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I also got made fun of a lot because I used to ride jet skis, like that was my life. And I always rode slalom, and my friends were always doing freestyle. And they're like, "Oh, you're such a pussfoot." So I tattooed it on my foot, and here we go.
Yeah. All right, cool. That's a very original story.
It is. It is. There's a lot of really weird stories.
Yeah. So how did you get into skydiving? And was it like an overnight thing? Was it a... Because you're semi-famous. Like, explain to the people at home who you are for a minute.
Okay. Clear that throat. Sorry, people. Who am I? I am in the sport of skydiving. I'm a load organizer. I'm a sponsored athlete. I run Pussfoot, but I also get paid to basically travel around the world and throw some super rad parties. Excuse my language.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll get like in May I'm going to Texas, from Texas to North Carolina, then to California, then back to Texas, and basically the whole skydive season I leave every Friday and come back every Monday.
No way.
Yeah.
And it's all paid by sponsors?
Generally the drop zones will pay for me to be there. Yeah.
Really? So in that circle, you're like a rock star.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I'm a beard star for sure. I've come a very long way in a very short period of time with the sport. I mean, like I said, 35 years old getting into it, that's a no-no. Not many older dudes, you know, will do that. But I love to constantly be, you know, kind of like you, like on the move, doing something exciting. Dude, we could all die tomorrow, and I mean, no matter how much cash or how big your boat is or how cool your airplane is or what your wardrobe is, the only thing you actually get to take with you is those memories, and the only thing people really get to keep of you are those memories. So you got to just rock it out every day, and that's what I try to do.
Beautiful, bro.
Even got my kids into it, man.
Really? Your kids skydive?
So my oldest daughter, she's now 14. When she was born, actually in utero, they were like, "You need to abort this baby." And I'm a pretty religious guy. I actually teach Sunday school and stuff. Yeah, I'm covered in tattoos, but I do all that. And I'm like, nah, I seen my daughter, like, suck her thumb with the 3D ultrasound. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. We're going to have the baby. And the doctor was pressing. They were always pressing us, like, you know, it's just tip of the iceberg with her feet. So when she was born, we knew it was coming. She had club feet, but a very severe case. And she went through tons and tons of surgeries. And over the years, she wanted to do ballet. She wanted to do, you know, just all that stuff, but she couldn't do it. You know, she wasn't just like a normal kid. She was extraordinary though. So I got her into iFly. I took her to Arizona one day. She didn't know she was going. She was hysterical crying because I'm taking her from home. Yeah.
Really?
I put her in the tunnel, and the instructor came up to me, and he goes, "Listen, your kid's got it." And I'm like, "Sure, you just want me to keep coming to iFly. This stuff's expensive." He's like, "No." He's like, "Seriously? Your kid's got it." Fast forward, she became the 8th best indoor skydiver in the world. She actually did her first skydive here in Aruba at 8 years old. And she's fully sponsored as well, but she doesn't skydive. She's a tunnel, rat.
iFly is, if you guys don't know, it's a fan on the floor, right? I mean, you can explain it better than I can.
Yeah, so basically it's just like a 12-foot glass tube with a couple of fans and a venturi, so we get like a very high rate of speed that comes up, and you go and you jump in this thing and you can do some really rad stuff in there, and she got really, really good at it. It was a lot of fun. So
what can she do? Can she do like backflips and somersaults and
everything? She can do everything.
Fun. She can go up real fast. Like if you spread your body out, you can go up. And
yeah. She's you got to check out her Instagram.
I got to see that. Yeah.
Supergirl Ryan, man. She's pretty rad.
What a great Instagram.
She's fun, but she became like an inspiration to like all these other kids with disabilities, and she made the cover of 17 magazine.
No way! Are you kidding?
Yeah, it's pretty damn cool, man.
Wow.
So badass. So to that doctor that told me to abort my baby, right at you. She's awesome.
Yeah, Supergirl
Ryan.
Yeah, sweet. I'm sorry about the heat in here, bro. I have to have the windows shut so it doesn't blow into the microphones, or else no one's gonna understand what we're talking about.
We're in Aruba. We should expect some heat.
Yeah. Feel free to take your shirt off. Make yourself comfortable.
If you want to see it, maybe we might get to that.
So, how did you get into skydiving? How long have you been skydiving? How many jumps do you have? That's a good enough question for one.
Yeah. All right. So, when I was 35 years old, I realized that my kids were just bored. Like, they didn't want to play in the dirt. They didn't want to do anything. They were scared of bugs. So I bought a camper, and we loved it. Instantly fell in love with camping. It was like, this is the freaking greatest thing in the world. You can go anywhere you want, and it's cheap. So we thought. So we went on one of our first camping trips with our second camper, because the first one I bought, it's like, you buy your boat and you keep it for a year, and then you buy your next one. Well, I bought my camper, I kept it for a week, and then I traded it in and bought a big one. So we went on our first trip to a place up in Gardner, New York, and typical to my luck, the second I get there, they're doing a crane pick. So the pools were closed, like you couldn't rent anything, no golf carts, and I'm sitting there just drinking like I do, and I'm looking up, and there's just canopies, and my girls, part of my French, looked at me and go, "You're too much of a pussy to do it." And I'm like, all right. So had the wife drive me over, got on, did a tandem, and I land, and my TI, James, goes to me, "There's 3 smiles in skydiving." I'm like, "What's that?" He goes, "Thank God I'm on the ground. That was kind of fun. I'm glad I did it, and I'm hooked on crack." And he goes, "You got that crack smile." He's like, "I'll see you in 2 weeks." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right, dude." 2 weeks later, I'm back. I took my ground school. Within 4 months, I do have a big boy job, so it took me a little bit of time, fully licensed. And then I think I pissed a lot of people off by sort of becoming famous in this, I hate saying that word, becoming very well known in the sport so fast. So from 35 to now I'm 42, fully sponsored, in magazines, been on TV, get paid to travel, and that's just sort of how it progressed.
It's not just you skydiving, it's your personality.
Maybe.
You have a very large personality.
Yeah, I like to get weird and I like to talk to people. My wife always says, she's like, I could put you in a room of the most conservative people in the world, and by the end of the night, 3 of them are wearing Speedos with you, dancing, like the Macarena. So, yeah, I guess I like to talk and have fun.
That's amazing.
Weird. But, so that was it. I started that, and, just got really into traveling again. Really into my family, right? So anything I can do to do fun stuff with them, I'm game for it. And for a bunch of years, I sort of became really selfish and just was traveling and skydiving and, kind of just being an absent dad. And I changed that with sailing. Yeah.
What got you into sailing?
All right. So that there's a couple of things with that. First things first, I love boats. I've had boats my whole life, from really go fast big scarabs to small scarabs, to my John boats, to my fishing boats. I loved boating. I fell out of love with it, and I got into camping, and then we fell out of love of camping, because, you're bringing your own house to a campground, and you bring your own food and this and that. And I tell you, it's almost more expensive to go camping with your camper than it is to go get a hotel room somewhere. So I was just done. We were seasoning too, and we started seeing the kids work for free at the campground. And I'm like, enough of this. I'm not going to pay $10,000 to keep my camper someplace for 6 weeks, or not 6 weeks, 6 months. And my kids are basically cleaning the toilets. So we finished, and I was like, let's, take a break, and maybe I bought a van, we'll drive around the country, we'll see some stuff. So anyway, I was still skydiving, and I wound up getting this thing called hydroxic eczema out of nowhere. Well, actually, I know exactly what it's caused it, but my daughter had her hip replaced, my youngest daughter. So she's had 8 hip replacements, and she's 9 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Hip dysplasia, yada yada.
Oh.
Last year, actually like right now, she was going in for her latest surgery, and I had to get a PCR test. Get my PCR test, and I was going to Texas in a few weeks, and like, whatever, this is good, now I can travel with that. Some of the restrictions were still like, hey, if you have one that's like 6 months old, you're fine. And I started getting blisters in my fingers, like 2 weeks after I took my test. And I take another one, and all of a sudden I look at my feet are just like really calloused. That's what it looked like. I basically had been running marathons with my shoes off. Fast forward like a week after that, they split to the bone. One basically got gangrene. They wanted to amputate it. I'm being rushed to the hospital, being put on antibiotics, and they couldn't figure out what caused it. And I did this week. I finally figured it out this week.
No way, just this week?
Just this week. I took another PCR test to get down here, and 1 week after, I started blowing up again. And it was funny.
It was the PCR test? It's some kind of chemical in the test?
There's a chemical in the test, and my doctor looked into this, and he's still skeptical, but he looked into it. He's like, yeah, I could see there's some case studies on it, where like 1 in a billion people will develop an autoimmune disease from whatever salts are on there.
So sorry.
Yeah, I brought steroids, dude. I took 2 courses. I was good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's nothing on me now. I was freaking out.
Wait, go back to where your calluses on your feet split to the bone. Like,
split to the bone.
What?
Yeah, so it looked like a normal callus, and then like you go to stand up one day and you just feel it. It feels like a tear, like someone's tearing your clothes off, and then not even bleeding because the skin's so necrotic. And it was just, I couldn't walk. I was like literally lying in my bed, peeing in a bucket, eating Imodium AD, praying I didn't have to poop.
I do that like every Saturday morning.
It was nuts. I couldn't hold a pen.
What?
Couldn't hold a pen. Like, dude,
same thing. They were cracking.
Yeah, like, and my fingernails were falling off. So like, if you look at this fingernail, this one just grew back like a little while ago. So the blisters in the skin would come down into your nail bed.
Oh god, dude.
So I couldn't skydive, man. Like, it was too dangerous.
Yeah. I
couldn't pull anything. If I were to pull, my skin would fall off. It was nuts. I'm on so much medicine, you have no idea.
How long did this go on for?
Dude, I just healed like 2 months ago. Like, fully healed. And then I come down here and it starts coming back. I'm just like almost ready to cry. I'm like, oh my god, I can't deal with it again. So bad. Hydroxic eczema. Yeah, you could Google it. It's like
I will.
nutty. But,
I've never even heard of it.
Neither did I until I'm looking at my fingers like, what in the world is this? It's nuts. Pretty nuts. So it kept me from skydiving, and I was super depressed at home, and I just started getting better on some steroids. And my friend Sarah reaches out to me, and she's like, yeah, you're out and about, you want to come sailing? And I'm like, yeah, not really, but yeah, I'm going to go. My wife's like, you should go have some fun. They have a 1980 28-foot Freedom, so like a little catch, really nice boat. Super heavy duty. But I'm like, yeah, I'll go. 4 minutes later, my buddy Chad, who's got the like 60-foot Sea Ray's like, you want to come out? I'm like, I'm going to go try sailing. Dude, I was the same smile I had when I got off that first skydive. I'm like, oh my god, this is more exciting than skydiving. This is more exciting than, excuse my language, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse.
Yeah, I'll beep it on you. Just be yourself, man.
Base jumping. More exciting than, going 900 miles in a cart. So, but you're only doing 6 miles an hour. I'm like, you don't get it, honey. You gotta come. My wife was like, I'm not going. It's too hot. I'm like, you gotta come try this out. So I start bringing my kids. They're liking it. And I'm already like, on the phone. I'm like, man, I gotta find me a boat. I gotta stop there for a second and explain what I do for work. So for work, I do disaster recovery. So whenever a hurricane hits somewhere, I'm shipped out, generally attached to like a FEMA or a National Guard group, and I run all their communications. I set up logistics for satellite communications, yada yada, and I basically bring cell service back to devastated areas fast. And it's funny because when you're doing it, the gratification is you get this one site up, and instantly the sheriffs are sitting there, or the FEMA group, or whoever, and you just see the cell phones light up. 911, they start pulling people out. So we're really saving lives. So whenever I get these calls, it's not about the money, it's about the humanity of it. It's also very exciting work. So I just basically get in my car and I drive. So this year was Louisiana, last year was Louisiana, Florida, wherever I'm called. The Bahamas I helped out with a few people that were doing water deliveries. And Dorian had hit out there, which was neat because we actually developed little parachutes that we attached to 5-gallon buckets and we're throwing out the back of the Skyvan.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Mike Manthi, he owns the Skyvan that was going out and doing it. And
water. You were just throwing water with parachutes on them.
Water with parachutes.
Oh, that's cute.
All throughout Eleuthera.
And when you were developing these parachutes, did you like have the math and take into account like how big the parachute needed to be?
Nope. Just get a tarp and cut it up.
No way, it was a tarp?
Yeah, we're using tarps.
No way, and it worked?
Yeah, it worked. Slowed the 5-gallon bucket up enough that when it would hit, it wouldn't shatter. They were dropping water. And then I did a lot of like...
with tarps.
With tarps. Yep. And then we were doing satellite communications for them and, a lot of logistics. I was trying to get stuff shipped out there. So that's what I do for work. I basically travel around to wildfires, tornadoes, hurricanes, you name it, and it's fun. It's good. But so every boat I found, there's another storm, and I'm getting shipped away. And I really wanted a Hunter 295. I think it's the coolest little boat for a family, and I wanted one so bad. My wife's like, "You're not buying a boat." I'm like, "I'm selling a camper. I'm buying a boat." She's not buying it, not doing it. I sold the camper while I was in Louisiana, and I found Hunter, a 35, Legend, and I'm like, I'm going to buy it. And I tried to put a down payment on it. The guy's like, okay. I get back, go up to New York, it's sold. I mean, this was every boat I found. It was sold from underneath me. I'm like, man, I'm trying to do good, and I'm getting screwed on all these. So finally, I'm like, these Catalinas look decent. And we were driving up to Connecticut to go look at 3 of them. They were all in the same price range, like $30,000, not a big deal. My wife was pissed. She's like, I can't believe you're doing this. I'm like, I'm doing it. Boom, right on Facebook. Guy wants $6,000 for a 1984 Catalina. I'm like, oh, I go over there. I had $4,000 for a down payment. I'm like, I'll give you $4,000 cash right now. He goes, done. He goes, you got to have it out of here by Monday. So September 11th, I bought it. And September 13th, I sailed it home. I don't know how to sail. It was 187 nautical mile sail home.
Good for you, dude.
What fun. I tore my jib. I broke my spreader boots. I had to go through Hellgate. Had no idea what I was doing, but oh my God, what fun. It was the greatest day of my life. We hit a storm.
Did you look on a YouTube video or something
man.
on how to sail?
Absolutely. I found one really cool YouTube video about when to hit Hellgate, find high tide and at the battery and then wait an hour and come through. And we made it. We hit this storm on the Hudson and I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. I've never seen lightning coming down right next to me. And my buddy Steve, who owns that catch, he's like, let's just throw anchor. He's like, throw it right here. And I'm losing my mind, like out of control. I might have drank a lot that day. So we throw anchor, and now we're both soaked from the storm, right? So we take off all our clothes. We're in our underwear hanging out underneath, and all of a sudden you feel the boom. Like, what is that? Green lasers start coming through the window. We anchored in a taxiway, and the taxis were still going. And then the police and the fire department came. I come out looking disheveled in my underwear, and here comes my other buddy, sweaty in his underwear. They all was like, what do you guys think we were doing? I don't get embarrassed easy, but that day I was so embarrassed.
Yeah, but
27 hours to get that thing home. And ever since then, it's just been boat work and having fun, but I'm hooked.
How many miles was it?
187 for my first.
Whoa, that's fast. You guys were smoking.
27? Well, we had a lot of current. We ripped.
And it was how long was the boat? Catalina?
It's a 30.
Yeah. I used to have a 27. I lived on that with my dog for
great boat.
A year. Great boat.
I think it's a perfect starter boat. Big enough for my family. Yeah. Strong enough that it's not going to fall apart, but hopefully we'll find out. But we've been having fun with it. Having a lot of fun with it. And
you still have it?
Oh yeah.
I got a really cool story about a Catalina 30, just to let you guys know how good this boat is. I met this girl in Panama. I think it was on the Pacific side of Panama in a river. We were both anchored in a river, and the river would it would be like 5 knots current, and then it would slack, and it would be slack for about an hour, and then it would be 5 knots current the other way as the ebb and the flow of the tide. And she was on a Catalina 30, and she came over and she's like, hey, can you help me out? I'm going to change my cutlass bearing in the water. So she pulled her shaft out, and she's like, all you got to do is just plug the hole. Pulled the shaft out, water's coming in, I plugged the hole. She's underneath the thing, and her boyfriend's got a kiteboard pump with a hose duct taped to it going down to a snorkel. And he's providing her air while she does the work, and she did it. And I was like, whoa, I'm impressed. So she ended up taking that boat from Seattle to Ecuador.
No way.
And Galapagos.
Damn.
That's amazing for a Catalina 30. Like the bulkheads all ripped off. She had to reglass them all.
No way.
Yeah. It was like the whole boat was falling apart. The mast was like this big around. I'm surprised she didn't dismast that boat, but yeah, that's a sturdy boat if it'll make it that far.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm impressed with it, but going home with it and then being like, no, I didn't do any survey. I paid $4,000 for this boat. Like, you know what? If I sink it on the way home, I just had an adventure and it cost me $4,000. Big deal. And got it home, got a slip, and it was just, let's start some boat work. I don't know how to do boat work, but I'm handy. So I'm like, I'll figure it out. So going up the mast that first time was super, super scary, especially because my halyard broke as I was going.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah, like at the bottom, I'm looking at it, and it's like, it should be kind of like stiff, and all of a sudden it was doing that. And I'm like, So I just tried to figure it above it and climbed up that way. But, yeah, I was a little freaked out with that, so I just redid all my rigging, right? And then my motor, the previous owner of it, he pulled the anti-siphon off, and what's the boat? It's an 84. So for 38 years, it had seawater spilling on the engine. So it's a rusty mess. So I'm like, screw it. So I pulled the motor out. And then we take the motor apart, and it looks like it just came out of the factory. So I'm like, well, at least now I have a new engine. I know it's good. And then my freshwater tanks are filled with mold. And I tell you, that's the only thing I'm having issues with. I cannot get rid of this mold. I've done everything. So I'm going to pull those out, and then I'll probably clean them.
You've tried shocking the tank?
Done everything.
Yeah, okay.
It's just this. You shock them, they turn white, and then all of a sudden, a week later, they're back to black. So I have a cool little plan I'm going to try, and if not, I'm just taking the tanks out. They're easy to get out anyhow.
Do tell, my friend. What is the plan?
The plan? I'm going to completely fill them with bleach, the cheap stuff that you get for like 20 cents a
You're going to
gallon.
put like straight bleach in there?
Oh yeah, I'm going to fill them with bleach, let them sit overnight, then I'm going to run that through. Then I'm going to go ahead and fill them with water to rinse out the bleach. Then I'm going to go and fill them with water again, rinse that out. Then I'm going to fill them with vinegar and let them sit for 2 days with vinegar. Hopefully the acid will remove any residual stuff. And then pump that through. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to take the tanks out. And I'm going to take my pressure washer with the steam fitting on there and steam clean them. And put them back in.
What's the problem with just getting new tanks?
I guess I could do that, but...
I mean, you can get polypropylene tanks made in any shape.
Yeah.
And they're not that expensive. A couple $100.
It's just, I'm enjoying the work.
You like doing it?
Yeah, I'm liking
the
work.
That sounds like ridiculousness. Why don't you just get new tanks? I mean, if it's a 40-year-old boat, it's probably due... Are they plastic?
They're plastic.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, they're gross.
Plastic starts leaching after a while, and even plastic hoses, like for... this is going to be kind of gross, but for your head, for your bathroom,
that's been redone.
Those white hoses, they actually leach the ammonia from your urine and start to stink and start to turn yellow.
Yeah, no,
and that's why those do that. So you need to change your plastic hoses. You need to change your plastic tanks. Not that often, but it may just be time, my friend.
Well, we could do it. I know that the Blackwater hosing has been redone. It's funny. One day I'm sitting there, I'm flushing the toilet, and I don't know anything about boats really. I know RVs really well, which are very similar. So as I'm flushing, actually it was my drunk friend James who was flushing the toilet. I'm looking outside, I'm seeing brown water. Like, what is this? So I guess as the black tank fills, it goes up a tube into a stanchion and starts spraying shit water.
Yeah, that's how they vent.
Oh my god, I had no idea. I'm like, I'm in the marina, and there's just shit going everywhere. Grabbing the hose. He's like, what do we do? I'm like, we don't sail today. I'm like, 'cause I'm not going to take care of this right now. There was no pump out where I was, so that was fun. But yeah, I got to do the tanks, and since I pulled the motor out, I'm going to do all the wiring over. And I noticed my exhaust hose is super dry rotten, so I ordered a new one of those.
Oh, that can sink your boat. That alone might have been worth the price of admission.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm also learning every system on the boat, right? Like, what guy buys a boat and 4 months later has it completely torn apart? I've redone all my lighting. I've redone, so many things. I don't even know. There's nothing old in the boat anymore at all. So, pretty exciting.
I did the same thing with the Morgan 41, and I probably lost about 16,000 on the boat because I had put in that much money, and I sold it for what I paid for it. But it was the best cruising school, like cruising university.
Yeah.
For me. I know everything about boats because I redid that whole boat, and I have a before and after picture of the engine room of that boat. If I can find them, I'll put them on here. It is amazingly different.
Oh, yeah.
It went from this, wires everywhere, and it's all yellow and nasty, and I redid everything. I redid the foam, I redid the sound padding, I redid the wiring, I redid the engine, rebuilt the engine. redid the batteries, the plumbing, and after that, I never really had
no issues.
It wasn't just okay, how do I do everything? It was just the knowledge that I was able to do that, and now I can tackle whatever problem on a boat.
Exactly.
Comes up.
My wife's like, I don't mind that you're doing this. Hey, again, we paid $4,000 for the boat. I've done all this work myself. So even pulling the engine and redoing the engine's costing me, it's a Universal M25, which is a Kubota D850. And if anyone has a Universal MX25 or M25 XPB, which is the new one, that's a Kubota 950. So if you're ever getting parts for these things, just go to your Kubota dealer because they're the exact same parts and they're like a tenth of the price. The whole motor rebuild cost me $420.
No way.
That's every seal, every bearing.
Just because you figured out what the non-maritime version of the engine was and that they were the same parts and...
Yeah. So my buddies, they call him Diesel Jesus. My friend Tim Ewell. And he's
good friend to have.
And I'm good with diesels as well. I do a lot of generator repairs, like especially on the fly in the middle of nowhere. And I called him right away. I'm like, dude, I just want you to look at this. He's like, yeah, well, that's a D850. We're gonna take care of this. And he's in there. He's taking it apart. He's like, looks like the lawnmower repair shop had been here. You know, it was just terrible. But yeah, dude, super cheap. And I'm painting the block pink.
Oh, that's cool.
No one can tell me that motor was not out of that boat if it's neon pink. So that'll be nice. But still, like after I'm all said and done, I think I'm only gonna have like $5,000 in the boat. So for $9,000, I have a brand new boat.
Yeah.
My sails, I ripped them up real good. My best friend is a skydive rigger. What does she do? Repair parachutes. So I was like, can you fix a sail? She's like, yeah. Sent them right over to her. She's got them all repaired up, good to go.
At a certain point, you know, that Dacron does get so sun damaged that you can't repair it anymore, or you shouldn't. It's not worth it because
same as a parachute. Yeah, it's ZP material.
And right? to tell, what you do is you just try to rip it with your hands.
Yeah.
If you can rip, I mean, try as hard as you can, and if you can, they're toast.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping I get like 2 more seasons out of them, and then I want to go
pull on the threads once they're done. Like go back home and pull on a part that's not bad, and like pull as hard as you can, and that's about how much force the wind would put on your sails anyway. And then if it comes out and if the threads start popping,
then it's time to
get new sails, man. I mean, I can talk to Precision about maybe a sponsorship for you. Or
I already emailed them.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
They're good guys.
They seem really rad. Yeah. I got a good one for you. What's the dumbest thing you've ever done on a boat?
You serious?
I know what I have done, which was dumb.
Dumbest thing? I mean, it's 16 years of boating, dude. I'd have to. One thing that comes to mind, and it wasn't me, but I was at the dock, and my girlfriend at the time, she started laughing. We were all drinking in the cockpit, and this was a 28-foot boat. She started laughing. And she slips back and falls off the boat, hits her back of her head on the dock, and then goes in between the boat and the dock and doesn't come up. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh no.
She is going to die. So I take my shirt off and I jump in the water, and just as I'm jumping in, she pops up laughing, and I'm like, oh.
Splash.
I thought she was dead, man.
That's scary.
She was not. She was
just taking her time.
Didn't even phase her.
Nice.
She's just like, whatever. I'm like, oh my God.
Got probably knocked unconscious for a second, didn't realize it.
Yeah.
So one of the things we do on Pussfoot is like a travel guide, like the Fromer's Guide to Skydiving. So if you're going to go to a drop zone, and I'll only do it if I've been physically to that DZ, I give you everything from the prices, the pack jobs, the planes, where to stay, where to get your firewood, is it safe to leave your stuff, how many dildos is it?
What?
Yeah, like how much fun. That's what Dean wanted me to start doing. We had to do one for him with that. But like basically the entire guide to that place, just like a Fromer's. And I was going up just to do this, and they're like, "Hey, your first jump here is free, just like a drug dealer." And I'm like, and I'm like, I'm really just here to do this for you. They're like, all right, we just got this brand new Black Hawk motor in here, and you should really jump this plane. I'm like, screw it, I'll go. 3-minute call. I'm getting dressed. Super cold out that day, by the way. I think it was 13 degrees on the ground. Negative 27 up top. So we wear rubber gloves, and then we wear regular same gloves as those on top, and the rubber keeps the wind from giving you the frostbite. So I get my rubber gloves on, put my rig on, did my check, but I was wearing the rubber gloves when I did my gear check. Whenever I jump, I always have a giant bottle of water. We get to altitude, have a great jump, nice track jump, which means you get kind of flat, and you go forward more than you're going down. kind of like a wingsuit, but
Like you're flying.
Kind of, yeah. You definitely a lot more forward momentum because you're bringing your arms back.
And you can feel that.
Oh, it's nice. It's nice. I go to pull. I couldn't pull. Couldn't pull. Like, what was going on? That bottle of water had leaked onto my BOC, which is basically a piece of spandex. And the freezing temperatures, it soaked into my pilot chute, right? So you really have more than one parachute. You have a pilot chute, which is what comes attached to your ripcord, and that pulls out your main chute, which has this exact, pull that up, this ring is what holds your parachute from coming out.
Oh, cool. You wear one of those around your neck.
It was one of the first jumps I ever took, so they gave me the pin from it. And I couldn't get it out, and I'm like, we were going to Phoenix the next morning, and I was like, I don't want to have to get a reserve job tonight. I don't know where I'm going to get one. And I waited, and when I finally got it out, it was basically I was going to try to pull, and as I was done pulling, I was going to come up and do my cutaway in my reserve, and it came out, and ice shattered, and just started falling all around and going up and making noise, and I landed in a pricker bush right after that, and I'm like, oh my God, never will I do that again. But yeah, so maybe the 343 had something to do with that. I don't know.
Maybe you should just check your gear better.
Yeah, that was actually a rookie mistake, and I've done talks on that one. Like, don't be so anxious.
That's how I deal with those kinds of things too. Is whenever I have a catastrophe, like the last one, I filled this boat up with a lot of water.
Was it Seacock or?
It was the wheel that measures the speed for your boat's electronics, and these things are in like every single boat has one of those wheels. And what happens is they get a bunch of shit in them, and then they ended up stop working, and then like everybody just leaves it in there, and it's just this through hole. But it's all plastic, and it's not Marlion. It's like crap plastic.
Yeah.
And so
there's actually 3 of them in my boat because the guys never uncut the wires to come out. So they get the new one in there right now, the Garmin.
Right next to it.
But all the other 3 ones are sitting there. I'm like, I'm gonna leave them in case I have to plug it up.
This is the problem, and that's the mentality. But I had one crack and break. The wave pushed it up, cracked the topper on it because it was so old, and it pushed it up out of the boat, and I had a 1.5 inch hole. Oh no! And I didn't notice until the water was above that board is when I noticed.
And now you're panicking trying to figure out where.
And then I thought it was coming from the motor, and then finally I found it, I plugged it. I know I got a plug on every single through hole, so it's not a big deal to plug it, but that's that. My point of the whole story was after that I made a lessons learned video that went, not viral, but I got probably 300,000 or 400,000 views on it, and it's just me completely saying like, look, I screwed up. This is why, and this is how I could have done better. And I got so many good comments on that. Like, thank you, dude. So I appreciate that. People appreciate that.
I talk at Safety Day as much as possible. Like, I've done a lot of dumb things in the sky, and Safety Day is every year. Most of the time, it's on like March 12th, but some DZs might move it if they're kind of local. And everyone just shows up, and what do? We talk about how not to get killed that year. What did we do wrong last year? I take the newbies aside and I'll be like, listen. You see me joking, you see me doing this and saying that. It's like, this is the real shit. Like, you need to know your gear. You need to check your gear on your way up. You need to go through let's do a gear check together. And I'll sit there with them and we'll take the whole rig apart. And we'll go through like, I don't want anyone to die. I don't want anyone to get hurt. We want this sport to keep going. So the safer we are, the more fun we have, the more videos out there, the more people want to skydive, and the community is just going to keep growing. So keep it safe, but have fun at the same time.
Is this an all-day event?
Which?
The safety
yeah, it's like an all-day thing. Generally, depending on the drop zone that does it, like we'll start at one spot, and then we'll, at the end of the day, either go have some jumps, or maybe go have a bonfire somewhere, or maybe even meet up at the local bar or restaurant. So yeah, it's like an all-day thing. Different seminars on different things.
Is it hard to get sponsored by the companies that make the gear?
For me, it really wasn't. I don't know why. I see people try for like 15, 20 years, and they don't. There's not a lot of money in skydiving. Most skydivers are completely broke. Like, so anyone that wants to become a sponsored athlete, even the best athletes aren't making big money. Getting free gear is always lovely, but you need to now push that gear. So for me, I'm very particular with my sponsorships. I'm not going to take a sponsorship from a company I'm not into, because if I don't believe in that gear, I'm not pushing it. So I'll turn away whatever I have to. But as long as it's good gear and they want me to keep doing what I'm doing, which again is with the newbies that are still learning gear, and they want the same gear that Pussfoot's got. So it's worked out really well, I think, for both my sponsors and myself. Building my ability to travel and building their resume with jumpers. So it's been good. But yeah, it can be tough. It can be definitely tough.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's not many of us out there that are fully sponsored.
Okay, so my next question is just an extension on that first one. What are these companies looking for, and how do you prove to them that you're worth sponsoring? Like, do you have 10,000 fans here and 100,000 fans here, and like what venues do you have to measure that?
Yeah, it's really weird, right? So, like my personal Instagram, I've got like 2,800 followers. Not crazy, nothing big. I guess it's decent, but it's not huge. My TikTok has nothing to do with skydiving. Yeah, I got like 150,000 on there. But Pussfoot, even like my Pussfoot brand's only got, I think in its heyday, 10 grand. So no, it's not really your social media numbers. It's more your presence. How good are your pictures? Are you showing that gear in the pictures? And how well traveled are you? So really, even if you're getting 20 likes per photo, where was that photo taken? And where was your next one taken? Were you taking one in Florida and now, hey, you're in Dubai? Or are you in Florida and then in Florida at the same drop zone so the same people are seeing it? I would say if anyone who wants to get sponsored, hashtag well. And be well traveled. And be, like, for me, again, I was LOing a lot, even with maybe like one or two sponsors. And, you know, now that I'm in Texas one day, Arizona the next, California back to New York, now down to Florida, doing stuff in the Bahamas, it's just, I'm so all over the place and I'm meeting so many people. And then also, when you're hashtag, right, if someone hashtags Brian Casserly or Pussfoot, that helps. But there's also, you know, the vendors and the manufacturers are always at these boogies. They have representatives there. And I'm good friends with so many of them, ones I'm not even with, and everyone looks out for each other. So once you're sort of part of that level of the sport, everyone's always like, hey, you should go for this guy, or you should go for that. And I do that for everybody. Even for like newbies. This one girl just got her license, and the first thing I did was I reached out to my suit sponsor, and I'm like, this girl is bubbly, and people love her. You need to grab her. And one of my other homegirls, who's also a team member on Oregon Sport, did the same thing, and dude, they picked her right up. She had like 27 jumps, and I think it pissed a lot of people off, but you know, here she's sponsored by like the best suit manufacturer.
Sick.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. So that's the only one that I'm not on with my daughter, by the way. She has a different suit sponsor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I kind of like that, actually, that we're rivals, you know. It's good. But, yeah, I mean, if you want to get sponsored, just be outgoing. Get some content out there. Doesn't have to be YouTube. It doesn't have to be Insta or Facebook. But, like, definitely pick one that you want to do and just keep working at that one. And then you slowly start talking to these manufacturers, and hopefully something will work.
To be a successful YouTuber and Instagrammer and TikToker and whatever, it's
tough.
It's a lot of work, man.
TikTok was funny for me. Like, dude, it was COVID. I was bored. I'm really into science, so I started doing mad science in my basement. And I guess like all the adults that are sick of like the stupid dances and stuff, they're like, wait, this guy's doing science, and I built like copper coil stoves, and then Texas weather hit, and I'm like, here's how you heat your house with like used motor oil, and I started putting out all this weird stuff like I got a good one I actually want to do for YouTube for sailing. How to build a water maker on your boat just with a mason jar. You know, it's like no one realizes it's so simple. It's like $6 and you can make a cup of water like every 15 minutes. So that's a neat one.
Still,
talking about. Exactly. Just a quick still with a mason jar, and it's done. And and you need a coffee pot too, like to leave your cold water in for your condenser. But yeah, that was funny. And I don't really do too much TikTok anymore. And every time I post a silly video, I lose like 1,000 followers. Cause
really?
Because it's not science. You know, it's weird. But just stick with one. And also, I feel like once you get one sponsor, just one, and you can show your validity to that sponsor, all of these guys talk. Even though they're all rivals, they're all still friends, and it's, oh, this guy's been great for me. Boom, there's your next one. Boom, there's your next one. And it just goes on from there. So, it's easy. I actually want to write a book on sponsorships one day. I've helped a lot of people, and it'd be neat to actually write that down. I got one really good one for Aruba if you want it quick.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
So, we were coming down. I know we're getting towards the end here, but I got to tell a story about it. So, we're coming down, my wife and I, to get engaged. She didn't know.
Oh, you got engaged here?
Yeah.
In Aruba?
At the Hyatt. I actually rented out the whole restaurant and had them light the torches and stuff. But then we got delayed, and the restaurant was closed, and I had to reopen it. But so this was 2003. And my buddies came down, afterwards. It was a big party. And we were all over at the Costa Linda. And me and my one friend with this beautiful, thick Italian hair, we were out swimming and we're drinking. And he goes, how deep is it? I'm like, yeah, it's like 15, 20 feet. Go see. So he goes down, and I swim over to him. This crystal water down here. I see him coming up. So I take my foot, and I wrap it around his head, and I'm pushing him up and down. And then my buddy pops up right where James is. And I go, what? What is this? Like this weird shock. And I'm like, what is going on here? I think this was March 17th of 2003. I have to go look at the newspaper after this. But
was this a newspaper article?
Yeah. The Diario wrote all about this. So I'm like, what is going on here? So, I take my foot, and I'm, still pushing, and I'm like, is this a snorkeler? This is clearly a person. And he's not fighting back. So I pick him up, like when you're wading water and you can lift your foot, and I look, and it was a man. I'd been in the water for 2.5 weeks. But now I'm freaking out. I'm like, sharks, right? Body in the water, sharks. And I kick off gently, but all the bubbles come up. And I get stuck in the soda bath of a jacuzzi of just human bubble.
Oh, gross. Yeah.
And I'm taking deep panic baths, and I forgot. I've been a lifeguard my whole life. Forgot how to swim. I'm like, I kept doing a doggy paddle. I'm like, there's a body in the water. No, there's not. Whole year, the hotel told me it was a turtle. And I'm like, I know turtles. I mean, this guy had a tattoo. The tattoo on his turtle.
Some turtles have tattoos.
Some do. And that's why we can't give them straws anymore.
They have tattoos of humans, actually.
So I was sitting there, and the Dutch Navy's running up and down. We got helicopters going. So anyway, the next year I come back, and one of my Reuben friends was like, just that was a kayaker from Curacao that had been in the water for 2.5 weeks. They didn't want you to know. They found him 4 hours later. And I stepped on a dead body in the ocean in Aruba. So that's our Aruba story to end the podcast.
That's insane.
Yeah, got married 2 years later, though. It's wonderful since.
Silver lining.
Silver lining. Good times.
Awesome.
Good times.
Any other stories you want to share with us?
Shit, man, we could go on and on. We could do a whole 24-hour power one on this. It's endless. The dumb things that I've done. Why don't we do this? Why don't we end it here and know that you and I will hook up again and do this again?
Yeah, you're gonna take me skydiving, man.
Yeah, well,
I'd like to go with you. I've never done it before.
I've never got my ratings to strap anyone to me.
But I can go in the same plane with you, right?
And I can jump out and hold your hand. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We'll get you a good TI too.
I don't want to be that close to you anyway.
My wife's was hysterical. I only had 34 jumps, but because of Pussfoot, I was treated like royalty. And I'm like, can I chase her? And they're like, I'm not going to say where this was because this is bad. And they're like, well, all right. And all I had was a little Session 5 on my wrist because I like selfies. And that's all I jump with anymore, by the way. And I'm trying to chase her. And I went out way too late. And I'm trying to track in, but bring my camera up. And she gets so mad when she talks about it. She's like, that's the one and only skydiving. You botched it, Brian. So you can see her in the distance and they get close and the TI gives me the finger and pulls. I'm like, well, I can go walk the shame. It was terrible. But, yeah, we could definitely. I'll get my homie to video it for you. We'll take care of you. It'll be fun.
Okay,
we'll have a good time.
Good.
But you got to stay and party afterwards.
Sure. Yeah, that's
the best part.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a session 2.
We could do a session 2
from this.
I mean, we got to put you, once you get that done, onto my podcast. Or not mine, the one I've been helping to host.
I would love that.
That'd be fun. We'll do it right after you land.
All right. So how do people learn more about you? Where can they go to find you? Where can they go to jump with you? Where can they go to get more information?
All right. So this is endless. So we're going to make it simple. If you want to know more about me, my Instagram is the best way to just get in touch with me. I'm on it nonstop, and that's Pussfoot 44. So PUSSFOOT 44. I'll give you my YouTube channel. It sucks. It sucks. I'm just basically learning how to fix my boat, and it's the Sailing Project Artemis. Hopefully they get more fun. I'll start drinking on them and make them a bit better.
You're wearing the shirt.
Yeah. I just had it made. I was like, everyone else has got their boat shirts. I want one.
Sweet.
Yeah. The Sailing Project Artemis project. Other than that, Pussfoot 44, you get me, and I respond to everybody. I'm not, I'm always on there, hey, what's going on? What do you want to talk about? So, if you want to skydive, same thing. Even if you go to pussfoot.com, there's a contact us, and I'll respond to that.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
Any other places they can see your work? What magazines have you been in?
Oh, my God.
A lot?
Yeah, a lot.
Oh, that's so cool.
Problem is, most of them have moved online, and in order to get them, for instance, Blue Sky Magazine, you'd have to become a member and then go to past issues. I've been in the USPA. I wound up on WCBS on like the morning talk show once, which was really,
fun.
really weird. That was a fun one with Mike Sugarman. He's a cool dude. Keep trying to take him skydiving. But yeah, there's all that like weird publications like that we keep winding up in. So it's fun. I'm sweating so bad. Oh, wait.
All right.
Wait.
Time to go.
I gotta give Zingaro a puss foot flag, man.
Oh, that is so awesome. That's going on the boat.
We just made them for my boat. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make these and give these to some other cruisers and whatnot.
Back up just a bit. It says, be inspired on one side, and it says, you gotta want it.
Gotta want it.
Pussfoot.com. I love that flag.
Man.
That's a cool one.
Thanks, all buddy.
You. Really appreciate it.
Enjoy, dude. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, this is actually a really cool flag. It's two pieces of material, so you can get the same logo on both sides. Yep. Neat.
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, that's gonna go up on the boat.
Oh, hell
so
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna shred it, but I'll.
No, it should. You gotta shred it
as long as it'll work.
Do me a favor, shred it, and then when it's in tattered pieces, send it to me, and I'll frame it.
Absolutely.
My first flag, like the feather flags that all the bars have, I gave it to my homie down in Arizona, Mark Hogue. He flew it for like 3 years in like the dust dirt of Arizona. And he gave it back to me, and that boogie, I had everybody sign it. So I'm still waiting for like 100 signatures from like really important people to me, and I'm just gonna frame that whole thing or have it encapsulated in Lexon so it's double-sided, and I'm just gonna put it somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah, pretty neat.
That's gonna be neat.
Oh yeah.
Well, I actually have something to return the favor with.
Hey.
All right. In keeping with the trend, every single guest on my podcast gets some Zingaro swag. You actually get two things because I think you're a hat man. A lot of the times I don't give the hats away just because some people don't wear hats. So this is the Zingaro shirt.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's got a sea monster getting up and ripping my old catamaran apart and just dumping all this shit in his mouth. Which is, I wanted that shirt for so long. I didn't get it till like 2 years after the wreck, and now nobody remembers. So
oh, man.
You'll know.
Hell yeah.
And then the Zingaro hat. And these hats are actually really nice. I like them.
So, yeah, they are.
See Zingaro on the back and then have the Zingaro logo on them.
I'm going to wear it right now because I'm always wearing a hat.
If you guys want to get your own gear, you can go to www.bonfire.com/store/Zingaro, and you can get all that stuff. I have all my old shirts up on that one.
It's actually like really, really well built.
And these shirts are nice too. These are Bella Canvas shirts. Those are my favorite. I have one of these that I've had for 3 years, and it's all like faded, but it's still intact, and they're comfy. So
you want my Artemis shirt?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, dude. That's what we should have done. Is just traded.
You should have just traded.
All right, you can have my stinky ass shirt.
No. Let's get the
All right, that's awesome, bro.
That thinks I would wash that. Oh, I'll put it on.
I'm putting it on.
Oop, got it on backwards.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'll wear this.
I do so much clothing that it's funny. Like right before I'm coming to Aruba, I said to my homie, I'm like, I need some Artemis shirts. He's like, fine. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, just give me two because I don't have a boat shirt yet. So
yeah,
did one in white and one in black.
Beautiful. Thanks for this. I appreciate that. Yeah. Looks great.
All right, well, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to swim in because Anna's got the dinghy.
Hey, it happens. It happens. You got a plastic bag, we can lock my phone in, that'd be good.
No, I got a dry bag, yeah.
All right, sweet.
Done it many times. Much love, everyone. Thanks for watching or listening, depending on how you're viewing this media. And as always, much love. See you next time.
Cheers.